This is Josh and Swain. Thanks for being with us today. Hope you're having a great Thursday so far. We are with you until 3 o'clock, available on the radio, on the Sports Animal, the Sports Monster, anywhere you stream audio, and you can stop by and watch on YouTube today. We're live at 99.1 The Sports Animal on YouTube. We appreciate you hanging out with us this afternoon. We invite you to join us as well. Question already coming in on Tennessee versus Alabama out on the recruiting trail. We'll get to that in a moment. 865-656-9900 if you'd like to join us. Swain, you know me. I am a sucker for the Twitter account Board Geniuses. It is an account that just searches around and finds amusing, sometimes insane, sometimes frightening message board posts. Often they come from the land of the SEC. Florida State's pretty popular. Ohio State, Michigan, I think, jump into the fray from time to time. Bama Online, as you can imagine, is a popular place to kind of search through right now for the Message Board Geniuses account. And there was a post yesterday from the member Saban Country, so I'm sure taking the news of last week well, with the subject line, you should be donating 10% of your salary pre-tax to Yeah, Alabama. The collective there connected to Alabama, and in the post, Saban Country said, stop tithing if you need to until we dig our way out. We are in a crisis, all caps. Your church will be fine. If it's not, you can join another. Football is religion in Alabama, and it's time to prove it. That one got me. I got to admit, that one got me.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, I will say, man, every time I see Greg Byrne, he is wearing a pendant or some type of gear from their NIL. I mean, he's 2 feet in, man, and he understands how much they need it now more than ever. I didn't really need it when NIL became a thing because people were coming to this school because they wanted to play for Nick Saban, and so NIL didn't play the most prominent role like it does for players that go to other schools. But man,
is there a chance the member Saban Country is Greg Byrne? Greg Byrne is adding that extra push.
Hey, burner accounts are popular these days by athletes and administrators and coaches. So I wouldn't be shocked, but I doubt it.
Your church will be fine. If it's not, you can join another.
Welcome to reality.
That's somewhat a representative of the mindset right now, how a portion of Alabama's fans are dealing with what's happened over the last 7 or 8 days.
Spoil, man, spoil. I get it. If you've been used to filet mignon for 17 years and now you have to have cube steak, I get it. A little Vienna sausage. Hey, this is different. You gotta get used to that. So welcome to college football, Alabama fans, the reality of college football without having, the greatest coach of all time. The rest of us, we live in a world where you got to use NIL. You can't just say, hey, we got the best coach ever. Don't you want to play for him? Come on, take less. No. So welcome to reality, Alabama.
Yeah, which they are adjusting to right now, and Kalen DeBoer trying to start things up. Now, Kwame asked us in the text box, with Saban now out and seeing some of the players that are leaving, in your all's opinion, should we, meaning Tennessee, have a better rated 2025 class than Alabama? Imagining that Alabama will take a step back, said, of course, probably top 10 to 15, but I don't see them battling it out for number 1. The idea has been that you're trying to chase, and realistically, you're not going to catch Alabama on the recruiting trail since Nick Saban has been there. Does that change? Do you look at 2025 with Josh Heupel entering his 4th season as the head coach? He's had several years to recruit as Tennessee's head coach versus Kalen DeBoer, who is just getting started there at Alabama. Should Tennessee's expectation be, hey, we out-recruit Alabama for the upcoming year?
That should be the expectation. Why wouldn't it be? If you're Josh Heupel and company and that's not the expectation, then you got the wrong mentality. If you're anybody on the staff and that's not your mentality, that's not your goal, then you have the wrong mentality. You can't ask your players to give you all that they have and to go the extra mile, but you're not willing to do the same thing on the recruiting trail. No, like, don't work that way. You have to look at this opportunity with Nick Saban being retired to have a better recruiting class than Alabama. I don't know if you will, but that should be the goal, 100%. And when you're able to go out and get a 5-star caliber quarterback, and we heard Austin Price on yesterday talk about George McIntyre having pull, having that cachet, having the ability to lead, and people gravitate towards him inside of the state of Tennessee. Tennessee should be in a position with the commitment of George McIntyre to be able to pull other really good players from the state of Tennessee. So I remember the 2014 class, which featured Todd Kelly Jr. and Jalen Hurd. Tennessee was able to take advantage of all the talent inside of Tennessee that year, and they came to Tennessee. That's what helped the Vols have a really good class that year. I think it was a top 5 class, top 7 class that year. Wasn't better than Alabama at the time, but that's because Nick Saban was there. But you still were able to capitalize off of all the in-state talent with George McIntyre in the 2025 class, and Tennessee in position to get him. Yeah, man. Yeah, that should be the goal. That should be the expectation.
Cameron in the text box says, if we don't, the people need to be fired. And I imagine he's referring to have that mindset, not
the mindset.
The result.
Yeah, the mindset. Now, if you come up short and you don't achieve a rating that's better than Alabama, let's not get crazy and fire anybody. But like, if you don't have that mindset, then no, because like some players, when they get a scholarship at a Tennessee or Georgia or Alabama or Florida, like when they're in high school, they are the top dog. They are the best player in their city, their town, their region. And when they get to college, they have a goal of doing the same thing in college. And then you quickly realize, oh, snap, it's not the same. Some guys elevate their game, improve mentally, improve physically to be one of the best players on their college team. Some guys melt and they're okay with the bar lowering and just being on the team. They don't care about starting. They don't care about being, second team. They don't even care about playing. They're just happy to be there. Those are the players. Those are the players that get you beat. Because too many of those guys don't drive the competition. And you have coaching staffs out there that have that mentality. Yeah, they may want to win a championship and think they're ready to battle everybody out in recruiting when they first get the job, but they realize that it's difficult, and then they're okay with just being mediocre. Let's just be between 15 and 20. Let's be in the 20s. Let's just win 8 games, 9 games. That's why guys like Mike Gundy stay at Oklahoma State. That's why guys like Dave Clawson is happy at Wake Forest. And they need to stay there. But if you're Brian Kelly, and you say, you know what, I want to compete with the big dogs, then you got to recruit with the big dogs every day. Not every week, not every other month. Every day you got to compete with the big dogs if you want to get those players to be able to beat those big dog teams during the season.
Follow-up question, but do you all agree that we should have a better class than Alabama in 2025? Should Tennessee have a better class than Alabama?
Part of me wants to say yes. Part of me wants to say no. The part of me that wants to say yes is, hey, here's a staff that's starting all over at Alabama. Tennessee should have more relationships with some of the top players, their staff, than Alabama's new staff. But Alabama did just play in the college football playoff. And then they have a coaching staff that just competed in college football playoff. And they have a head coach that just coached Michael Penix. And then some of the guys that were retained from Alabama, they also helped players get to the league. So a part of me wants to say yes, a part of me wants to say no. I think Tennessee's NIL is in a better place than Alabama's NIL because we've needed to use it more than Alabama's. I think that's a toss-up, like right now. It's a toss-up right now. Right now.
We'll continue the conversation. We'll continue to ask what you think with the changes at Alabama and the potential effect, potential boost for Tennessee moving forward. 865-656-9900 to join us. Call or text in. Alan Bell at 1 o'clock. Matt Moscona at 1:30. Loaded up this afternoon. A lot to cover. Tennessee football, Tennessee hoops as well on Josh and Swain. This is Josh and Swain. Thank you for being with us. Josh Heupel bringing us back in. Tennessee basketball getting ready for Alabama on Saturday. Orange out. Jason Swain at the Food City Center with Alabama football getting a lot of conversation. Tennessee versus Alabama in basketball will be a big deal coming up this weekend, and there'll be a lot of orange in the arena when the Tide come to town.
Orange out, right?
That's the plan.
That means we need to wear the cream uniforms with the script balls on the front. I mean,
You like those?
Oh, I love those. Those.
They bust those out for the Texas game last year.
Yep, Texas,
is that right?
Yep, Texas game. That wasn't the only game they wore those. But those are my favorite, man. I love it when the baseball team wears it. You gotta wear that. Like you can't ask the fans to come and wear all orange if you're not willing to do something different too. Like you gotta do something. I
agree with that.
Yeah, and it's not Alabama football. Like Alabama football game, you do all orange, and your uniform versus the rivals, it's orange shirt, white bottoms, white helmet in football because of tradition. Basketball, I mean, you don't really have a tradition like that against Alabama basketball. So you don't have to go with the original look. You can go with the cream, Vols, script, letters on the front of the jerseys. You have to.
I like it. 2:00 tip. It's going to be wild in there. The fans did a great job, especially considering the circumstance with the weather for the Florida game the other day. It's going to go up to another level with Alabama coming in. There is kind of a football carryover to basketball, like we talked about with Florida the other day with football and basketball. I don't think Nate Oats is popular among Tennessee fans, and Alabama's really good. This is one of Tennessee's top competitors to win the SEC this year. So it's gonna be awesome at the Food City Center on Saturday.
We got to think about it like this too. Here in Knoxville, we've been cooped up in the house all week. Remember the last time we were all cooped up in the house, and that was during COVID. And when we got outside the house to start going to games, home court advantage went up another notch. So imagine what Saturday is going to be like when everyone is out of the house. Oh, it's going to be a madhouse. It is going to be something else. And you and I were at the Texas game last year, and that was a huge, huge game. College Game Day was there. It was a huge atmosphere, loud atmosphere. I mean, you couldn't ask for that crowd to be on that level. When I asked Toby Awaka about what game stands out to him on the locker room on Sunday, he mentioned the Texas game. That was the one game that stood out to him, and that's when he was a freshman. So if we can duplicate that type of environment, then it's going to be hard for Alabama to be able to come in here and win. And listen, the last time Alabama came in here, they were ranked number 1, right?
Yeah, they were rolling. And Brandon Miller, he showed why he was so highly thought of, why he was going to be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. But Tennessee's defense against him, that was I don't know if that was a coming out game for Jahmai Mashack. Yeah. Remember how he stepped up in that performance?
Yeah, Mashack put the clamps on him.
Yeah.
So
we'll see with Bama Saturday. They're a really good team, one of the top challengers in the SEC to Tennessee. Saturday really matters. Home court has been a huge advantage for Tennessee. Bold prediction. I think it will be on Saturday this week as well.
What's your boy Ken say about the game?
Oh, Mr. Palm?
Yeah. Ken Palm, your boy. Your
I
idol.
can pull that up for you. Know, I just have it open on a tab, by the way. I didn't even have to go to the website.
Yeah, that's your boy, man.
Yeah, he likes the Vols by 4. KenPalm.com. Ken Pomeroy.
Okay. All right.
You feel good about that?
I do.
63% chance to come away victorious for the Vols.
Which team does Dalton Knecht play for?
According to Ken, Dalton Knecht is still on Tennessee's roster.
I like Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Tennessee this one. Coming off of a 39-point performance, 37-point performance against Georgia, and another 30-point performance against Mississippi State. Yeah, I like Dalton Knecht. Whatever team he's playing on Saturday, I like that team's chance.
You're taking DK's team. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That does. Well, football question in the text box in just a moment. Next week, so Tennessee has a week between games after playing Alabama on Saturday. Ken Palm is giving Tennessee a 93% chance to go to Nashville Saturday, January 27th, and beating Vanderbilt.
Josh.
Vanderbilt is ranked 191st in the country by Ken Palm.
Josh.
Jason?
Tennessee's going to beat Vanderbilt down. But I will say, they always give us a tough test. It doesn't really matter what's going on. They always play us better than they play other teams. Like, they can get beat by 50 to Alabama or to Auburn or whatever, and then find a way to make it close against us or beat us. I mean, they got embarrassed last year. I want to say it was against Alabama. It was like a Harlem Globetrotter game against Alabama or Kentucky, one of those teams. I mean, it was terrible. Kentucky, Alabama just smashed Vanderbilt, and then Vanderbilt beats us. So
they lost 101-44 to Bama, and then the following two games beat Ole Miss and beat Tennessee.
Wait. What was the score last year? Vanderbilt, Bama?
101-44. It's like a South Carolina women's score against mid-major, not even, that they're playing.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt this season is 5-12 with wins against USC Upstate, UNC Greensboro, Central Arkansas, Alabama A&M, and Dartmouth. But at home, only lost to Alabama by 3 points, only lost to Memphis by 2 points. So they have challenged quality teams. We're getting ahead of ourselves, though. Tennessee focusing on Alabama this week. Ken Palm, though, he projects all the way ahead.
Right.
He does have Tennessee going to Vandy and winning comfortably next week.
I think we can point out which game Dalton Knecht is going to score 40 in.
Well, he's got to go for 44 because Grant put up 43 in Nashville.
Okay, I'm cool with that. Let's go 44.
Yeah,
let's go 44. I mean, why stop?
He has to hit 24 free throws.
Why are we stopping at 44?
Because Rick's going to pull him. He's going to call a timeout and say that'll do.
Yeah, because if you handle business the way you're supposed to against Vanderbilt, you should be up by a lot of points, and there's no reason to be playing Dalton Knecht while he's in the 40 range or in the high 30 range. Like,
did you see Dalton's response the other night? Because he put up a couple of shots late. They weren't the best shots trying to get his 40th points and 40th, 41st, whatever it would have been. And Dalton was asked, "You think Rick was upset with you maybe with the last couple of shots?" He said, "I'm sure he was." He knows Rick Barnes. Rick walked into the locker room and said, "Everybody congratulate Dalton on the 8 rebounds." He wouldn't give him the credit on the 39. So Rick. So yeah, if Dalton gets to 44, it'll be time to sit. Listen, assuming Tennessee doesn't need more than that.
I don't care what Rick says. When Dalton Knecht finishes his season, his career here at Tennessee, Rick Barnes is going to use Dalton Knecht's experience to recruit the next Dalton Knecht.
I'm sure that's already started.
You better believe it.
Yeah. And I think when they called that timeout, wasn't Zakai trying to plead his case? Hey, leave Dalton in, let him get his points. And
Rick said, "Get out of here.
Go sit down."
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. I ain't doing that. But hey, whether
you know who you're talking to,
Rick is intentionally or not recruiting the next Dalton Knecht, it's happening because people are going, "Oh man, I can go to Tennessee. If I'm in a smaller school and I'm a scoring machine, I can go to Tennessee at the SEC level and do what Dalton did." WWDD. What would Dalton do?
Good luck to the next transfer that comes in that gets compared to Dalton Knecht, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Tyreek Key came before Dalton Knecht because if Tyreek Key came last year or next year, then he would have some big shoes to fill.
For sure. We'll come back. There is a highly touted freshman on Tennessee's football team with big expectations. A question for Jason Swain about him when we come back. Alan Bell in 20 minutes. We'll see what he thinks about the Tennessee-Alabama matchup plus the NFL this weekend. That's at the start of the 1 o'clock hour as we continue this afternoon on Josh and Swain. Thanks for being with us on Josh and Swain. As we continue this afternoon, final segment of hour number 1, we're with you until 3 o'clock. Hello to everybody listening on 99.1 The Sports Animal, as well as up in the Tri-Cities. We're on there every day, 12 to 3 on AM 640. If you're streaming the show, you can watch as well on YouTube, 99.1 The Sports Animal YouTube page. Stop by, subscribe, like those videos if you get a chance as well. We will talk to Alan Bell of Driving the Line coming up at 1 o'clock. Matt Moscona at 1:30. We'll probably have some fun perspective on what LSU fans are thinking right now about what's happening in Tuscaloosa, which we will get back to as well. We'll also keep the text box open for you. If you'd like to connect with us that way, message us at 865-656-9900, the same phone number to call. With Michael messaging from up in Rhode Island, Narragansett, if I'm pronouncing correctly. I'm trying to say Knoxville has had more snow than we've had in the past 3 years. That says something, Swain, about how the last week has gone.
Wow.
But a question for you, a former Tennessee wide receiver, a VFL, as Michael has read about Mike Matthews, very talented, very well thought of as a wide receiver, now a part of the 2024 class and getting ready to get back to Knoxville. But what do you think about what he needs to work on over the next 8 months as he'll be going through workouts and working with his teammates at Tennessee? What does Mike Matthews need to do to try to be a part of the rotation when Tennessee's season begins August 31st?
Well, what to work on is everything. You're a freshman, so you got to get bigger, stronger to be able to handle the rigors of playing in the SEC. You're not going to be able to just sit out and practice like you did in high school. You're going to have to practice every single day. There's going to be a lot of running, so you want to make sure that in the weight room you're taking it serious. The physicality of playing inside the SEC, maintaining your strength levels. Lifting weights during the season is not necessarily about gains. It's about maintaining the gains that you were able to achieve during the summer, and it helps reduce the risk of injury. So that's first. Second would be learning the playbook, knowing where to go. Perfect alignment, perfect assignment. And number 3, which is probably the most important thing, go out there and make plays. Go out there and make plays at 7-on-7, one-on-ones in the complex. Go out there and make plays during practice. And don't line up against other freshmen. Like if you are Mike Matthews and there's another freshman DB getting in front of you, and you may not do it to start, but eventually you don't want to be going up against those guys. You want to go up against projected starters who are going to be playing corner for Tennessee, who's going to be starting for Tennessee. So if you can go up against Rick Gibson, if you can go up against some of those transfer DBs that's coming in, guys that the coaches feel like are going to be day one contributors for Tennessee, if you're beating those dudes on a consistent basis in practice, that's going to bode well for you. That's going to open their eyes. And they're going to feel comfortable putting you in on Saturdays and doing it against the opposing team's CB1, cornerback 1, or cornerback 2. If he does those 3 things, he'll be just fine.
Tennessee had some really good veteran DBs when you got to Knoxville in 2003.
They sure did. And, man, I came in going up against Jabari Greer, who was a NFL corner who was not drafted, but went to Buffalo and tore it up, got a big deal to go to the Saints, was a starter from the moment he stepped into the NFL to the moment he stepped out, starter and Super Bowl champion. So I went up against Jabari Greer every day. If I didn't go up against Jabari, I was going up against Jason Allen, who plays a true freshman. I went up against Jabril Wilson, who was a Super Bowl champion with the New York Giants, Rashad Baker. So I went up against some veterans as a freshman, and there were not a lot of days where, like, I won all of my reps in one-on-one. Like, I might have won some here and there, but I took some L's because I was going up against pro players who just finished going up against Dante Stallworth and Kelly Washington every day. So going up against freshman Jason Swain really was nothing to them. I thought I was pretty damn good. I was ready to go in and show them what I got. But I knew that these guys had played a lot of football. But the moment they left and I went from my freshman to my sophomore year, man, I saw a huge difference. in my game, and being able to use certain tricks that I had to use against those veterans that now worked a little bit more frequently in my sophomore year, junior year, and senior year. So, like, yeah, you're going to have those moments where you may not win the rep clean, but it's going to make you a better player. So that way, when you do go up against guys on Saturdays, and like my freshman year against Florida, I go up against Ratliff. I think his name is Kawan Ratliff, who Slay mentioned on Tuesday. He's an NFL dude. Like, I went up against some pro corners my freshman year inside the SEC, but I felt like I was prepared because I went up against Jabari Greer and Jason Allen, Antoine Stewart, Baker, Jabril Wilson every day in practice as a true freshman.
Jabari was a talker. Am I remembering that right? Jabari Greer?
Yeah.
Was he a talker in competition, or was it more just personality?
Personality. Yeah, he wasn't like a big trash talker, to you, but like he make a play on you. He's talking. Yeah, let's go. Like, get that out of here. Like, he's not necessarily directing it at you as a receiver unless you start it. He'll finish it, but like he just was always. He was like Sterl Pearl. He always had the energy. Always was the life of the locker room, and that's why guys like him are able to go be an undrafted free agent and have a role. Start.
Yeah.
The second contract.
Ended up having a terrific career.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Yep. So, good question for Swain, talking about Mike Matthews, one of the next receivers with a big opportunity in Tennessee's offense. He'll have to put the work in for sure to try to make an impact right away. We'll be with you for 2 more hours. If you want to be a part of the show, you can call or text in. Same number for either option, 865-656-9900 to join us. With you for 2 more hours before Tyler and Will take over at 3 o'clock. We will come back and talk to Alan Bell. We'll tell you about driving the line, and he'll tell us what he thinks about Tennessee-Bama this weekend and a big NFL divisional round weekend coming up in the postseason when we come back on Josh and Swain. Swain, we begin hour number 2. Thank you for being with us today, live on 99.1 The Sports Animal and in the Tri-Cities. Hello to everybody on AM 640, listening to The Sports Monster. Plus, wherever you might be streaming the show, you can watch live on our 99.1 Sports Animal YouTube page. And if you watch, you can see our friend Alan Bell driving the line every day. Alan, good to see you. How are you?
Gentlemen, doing fantastic. It's good to see you guys, too. I hope everybody is safe up there in Knoxville. I'm here in Nashville. You know, snow and weather's been crazy, so hope everybody's okay. But, yeah, good to see you guys' faces, man.
And we're seeing a lot of different sports to get action on right now because we're still in that transition. NFL postseason, the college football offseason, by the way, creates a lot to see out there. But want to get your thoughts on Tennessee basketball before we dive into NFL playoffs, because the Vols just got an important home win the other night against Florida. They're about to take on Alabama, which is another one of the top teams in the SEC. It'll be at home. What do you think about the importance of home court advantage? And then when you look at two of the top teams for sure in the SEC going up against each other, Tennessee hosting Bama this weekend.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you know, going to be a big game, obviously, but this team is ready for big games, and they have been getting after it. That was a great win against Florida. And did I see the stat correct that Florida hasn't won in Knoxville in a decade, in 10 years? Is that correct? That is impressive, man. Like Rick Barnes, what he is able to do, recruit, get this team going. Yeah, man, they could do it all.
What about Nate Oats' team? What do you think there in terms of they didn't have the start I think they wanted in non-conference, but they're challenging themselves. And then the metrics, when you look at Ken Palm, for example, he has Alabama right there in the top 10 with Tennessee. What do you think about Alabama, what Nate Oats will try to do against a team with Tennessee that's led by Dalton Knecht? The scout is on him, right? Where do you think that conversation goes?
Yeah, no, I mean, you've got two very similar teams that, quite frankly, they could play all phases of the game. They could play defense. We certainly know both teams can shoot, and they're not afraid to get in a run-and-gun shootout, right? So I think that this is one of those games to where you have a game plan coming in, all right? You want to stick to it. But about 5 minutes in, you're both just draining threes, and it's like, all right, now we're running, right? And those are the most fun games, not only to play in, but as a fan of the stands or watching as well. So it's going to be fantastic, man, and it's all going to come down to, you know, fouls, free throw attempts. Want to see Tennessee definitely get their percentages up in regards to that. But when Tennessee is, they're a tough out. But as you said, so is Alabama.
What about the NFL playoffs? And we're joined here by Alan Bell, driving the line, ab3.com. We got a couple of games last week, but not really great games. But for you, it's about picking the right game to make some cash. What's that game for you this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's the Detroit Lions. All right. So they come out of wild card weekend. All right. And quite frankly, they were playing the risky team in the Los Angeles Rams, and rightfully so. They were playing excellent football. We saw how that game ended, very tight. And it's almost as if, you know, if you're on the Lions, you kind of exhale. You're like, okay, all right, we're supposed to be here. We are this good. And the Bucs were playing with house money, man. Quite frankly, drove the house up on the Eagles. So I think that now the Bucs actually see they might get a little nervous. They actually have something to play for, to where the Lions, it's, you know, nervous last weekend, cool, calm, and collected this weekend. I love Detroit -6.5. I think that's my favorite bet of the weekend.
What about individual performances from certain players? You know, we saw Josh Allen rush for another touchdown. I mean, any player this weekend you feel really, really good about throwing into a parlay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, so you just nailed it right there. Like, if you're not taking Josh Allen anytime touchdown or even Christian McCaffrey, what are you doing with your betting life, right? Like, those two dudes are going to get in the end zone. But there's some other ones as well. All right, Lamar Jackson, all right, the MVP of the NFL. The reason, well, there are multiple reasons, but the large one is his completion percentage. And quite frankly, what the Ravens offense has done is before the season, they said, all right, we're going to find the spots where you have troubles throwing, and we're just not going to throw it there. They're going to be 5 to 6 yards safe, completable passes, all right? And then you can use your legs as well. So if you like Lamar rushing, his rush attempts is at 9.5, good number there. Also look at completion. Same thing for Jared Goff with the Lions, because we saw, all right, that Todd Bowles defense with Tampa. You're not going to sit there and run the football on him. It's not going to happen. But Jared Goff, he can do the same thing. 4 5-yard passes over and over and over. I believe that number sits at 23.5. Solid play there as well.
Alan Bell with us, driving the line. I think the thought is San Francisco, hey, it's all just set up to get to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You mentioned how you like Detroit. If they get a little momentum here, it's obviously a tough challenge, assuming they win this week, to still knock off the 49ers, who have to get there too. But do you see it that way? Is the road just set up for the 49ers, or can Detroit be a real player to win the NFC?
Yeah, look, I believe in everything Detroit, because we saw the last 2.5 years, that locker room, loss after loss after loss, and they never gave up. They always had heart, kept coming back, kept fighting, and that's a big reason why they are where they are right now. But that being said, look, man, the 49ers are fantastic, and what they do, quite frankly, like, it's not like the Miami Dolphins where it's a ton of timing routes and you need A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z all to come together. 49ers just line up, run the football, play defense, and that is tough to beat. I do think that the 49ers will be a team going to the Super Bowl here, representing the NFC, because not only that, Kyle Shanahan knows what time it is. They've had a Super Bowl team for 3 years now, had injuries the last two, finally healthy. That team is full of dudes that know exactly what time it is. So, yeah, I'm all 49ers. Nothing against the Lions, but 49ers are for real.
We saw last week weather play a big part in the games, and that can affect the total. This week, weather should be a little bit better. Any game you're looking at where maybe the under, the over is more attractive than the other?
Yeah, look, all right, we're gonna take the under in the Texans-Ravens game. Now, part because what you spoke about, weather, I don't think it's gonna be too terribly bad in Baltimore. I'm not fully sure exactly what it will be on kickoff, on game day, on kickoff. But that being said, Baltimore hasn't played a meaningful game in 3 weeks, all right? It takes a little time, not to mention the Ravens, the number one seed in the AFC. John Harbaugh's looking at it the same way. We don't have to win by 20. We can win by 1. That's just fine. Just win the game. So the best way to do that is taking the other team's offense out of it. Now, easier said than done. CJ Stroud, the Texans, are playing great football. But I could see the Ravens saying, we're just going to slop this thing up. We're going to play field position. We're going to use our kicker, Justin Tucker, and we'll just put you out of the game, and we can win 19-17, and we're perfectly fine with that. So, yeah, I think the best underplay is going to be in that game right there. And then the Bills and the Chiefs, just do whatever you want. That's going to be a phenomenal game, man. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, what are we supposed to make of this matchup, which we've seen so many times, Bills-Chiefs, the winner trying to get back to the AFC title game?
Yeah, so we saw Kansas City and what they did against Miami. They brought the house, all right? Steve Spagnuolo and that defense, they've been doing this in the playoffs. They know exactly what time it is. That being said, though, these two quarterbacks are dangerous on third down. So you're going to see both of them use their legs, but the biggest part is you're going to see both of them use their tight ends. Buffalo has 2 of them. Kansas City obviously has Travis Kelce, and then we saw Rashee Rice doing his thing as well. Look for 5 to 6 yard completed passes. Keep it safe. Dump outs. Use a short passing game as a de facto run game. That being said, same thing we talked about with Tennessee and Alabama in basketball. Once the first team scores, it is on, and you just throw the game plan right out the window. It's going to be a back and forth affair. The first time Mahomes has to go to Orchard Park, it's always been Josh Allen going to KC. But then again, Chiefs ain't scared of cold weather. They're ready for it.
What's up with the Titans, Alan Bell? Are we going?
Good question.
Is there a coach currently coaching as a coordinator right now in the playoffs that you see maybe being the next head coach of the Tennessee Titans? What's the word there in Nashville?
Yeah, so, I think that Ben Johnson, the OC of the Detroit Lions, I think that he would be the prime ideal candidate. The problem is every team is requesting interviews with him, and I think that he might be a guy that Seattle looks at, and he'll probably end up going there. But the Titans definitely want to look to offense, and if you listen to any sports radio out here, that's all the fans are screaming about. Please, somebody, God, score some points. They're tired of seeing 14 and 15-point games. So I would definitely look to the offensive side of the ball, and if you look at who they're requesting, they're not looking at Bill Belichick. They're not looking at a Jim Harbaugh. They're looking for a young, next up-and-coming type dude. So, yeah, keep your eye on that.
The conversation around NFL coaching vacancies is having to battle with the teams that aren't making moves, it appears. Cowboys are keeping McCarthy. It looks like the Eagles are going to stick with Sirianni based on conversation so far. He's trying to put a plan together for coordinators. We'll see if anything changes there. And Mike Tomlin, he said today he's in a better mood, but he's trying to figure out what he's going to do with an OC. the quarterback position. What do you think about those three franchises that get so much attention, the Cowboys, Eagles, and Steelers, what they do this offseason?
Yeah, so look, the Dallas Cowboys, I'm with it. Pete McCarthy. Look, yes, they had a bad game, and it's happened before, but they got rid, of Kellen Moore, their OC, and their offense got better. I think that the Cowboys are doing good by keeping consistency. Now, the Eagles, the problem, it appears, is Nick Sirianni. I'm still not convinced that they keep him. I think that Philly is just waiting on some type of back channel communication from a coach that they would want, hint, a Mike Vrabel, saying, if we get rid of this guy, you're coming, right? Like, I think that's what they want to do, because if you look, the problem, all the other coaches, the OC was gone out of Philly. DC was gone. It's just him, man. And they had problems there. And there's a guy in Doug Peterson that has a statue outside of that stadium for winning a Super Bowl, and they fired him after a year and a half. I think that Philly would be the right team to make that move. And then the Steelers, like, it's Mike Tomlin. You just let him do whatever he wants to. Get him help.
You decide,
that's
Mike.
yeah.
Yeah, Vrabel would fit, I think, in Philly.
I do too.
The good parts and the bad, I think they would still fit together on both sides of that.
Yeah, he definitely would. If somebody, mouthed off, he wouldn't be afraid to go handle it in the parking lot. Mike Vrabel's not afraid to do that at all. He'd be a good fit in Philly.
Alan, it is great to see you on our YouTube channel. We love talking to you each week as well on the radio side of things. People can watch you. Tell people about what you started up, what you're building there with Driving the Line.
Yeah, absolutely. So YouTube at Driving the Line, just as you said, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Essentially what we're bringing you is a daily sports betting show. 30 minutes or less. We want to hit on every single topic, every angle in regards to those games on the board. Plus, we like to have a little fun as well. If you remember Jonathan Coachman for the WWE Sports Center, ESPN, he is our host, and we have a ton of fun. So yeah, come check us out. 10 a.m. Eastern every day.
And people know you for handing out winners, but you're a bit of a branding master as well. Did I see you're going to be doing some kind of branding series if people want to check that out?
Absolutely. Yep. Got another channel at the AB3, and that's going to be a lot of this around sports media, sports betting, all of it, because there are so many people who want to get in and they don't really know how to do it, and they just need a little bit of a leg up. So completely free. We're going to start next Wednesday and go every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Check us out at the AB3 on YouTube. Go ahead, get yourself in there, like the video so that you get notified. And yeah, like I said, completely free. We'll walk from front to back, whatever you want to do, big or small. Show you pretty much everything I've learned.
I got subscribed right now.
Hey, there we go. Hey, I got to subscribe. Hey, look, I'm already subscribed, but I got to start following you because you're doing everything around here, man. You two guys are crushing it.
Yeah, man. We gotta get those winners. Ward, we got the winners over here, man.
Yeah, he'll give us the winners, so then we can afford to build out what we're going to build after following all the techniques from Alan Bell. So at Driving the Line and at the AB3, stop by, subscribe, and check out what they're building over there. Hey, Alan, we appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, appreciate you guys, man. Y'all be safe in this weather. Take care.
Same to you. Alan Bell joining us from over in the Mid-State. We continue on Josh and Swain. We invite you to be a part of the show. You can call or text in. Text box is open, 865-656-9900. We continue the conversation about life in the SEC changing for one of Tennessee's competitors, how that changes things for Tennessee, Alabama in basketball as well. Getting ready for that game. And Orange Out at the Food City Center coming up on Saturday. We'll come back on Josh and Swain. Josh and Swain here on 99.1 The Sports Animal. Thank you for being with us. We'll talk to Matt Moscona from radio down in Baton Rouge to see what the LSU faithful are saying. Also, we'll learn a little bit more about Lance Hurd, who has not announced that he's headed to Tennessee, but we expect to head to Tennessee, as Austin Price was on with us yesterday and said he would be shocked if Hurd is not playing football at Tennessee this upcoming fall. So Matt Moscona, he's always great. We'll talk to him in 10 minutes. As Swain, I know you are feeling for Alabama football fans who are going through the challenge of what's happened over the last week. You've shown a lot of empathy toward Alabama's football program, so we'll talk about that in 10 minutes.
Last time I checked, the LSU fans were celebrating like Tennessee fans, celebrating like Auburn fans.
Yeah, the gifs, the memes, Dumb and Dumber, ha is just a goof was one of the scenes that was sent to me. A lot of joy is being taken. Somebody mentioned yesterday they could hear the glee in your voice. It's a perfect description, the glee in the voice of Jason Swain when I think they had a 2025 linebacker decommit. Yesterday was the news of Caleb Downs and Caden Proctor, two of the most decorated freshmen from around the country in college football, entering the transfer portal. That's really what took it to the next level, because a bunch of players had already entered the portal. But when Downs, who's one of the top safeties in all of college football, and Proctor, a freshman who just started every game at left tackle for Bama, entered the portal, that changed the conversation, I think, more than any other player so far.
Yeah, we need to go back and hit up message board geniuses and check in and see if we see some of the latest from Bama fans.
Yeah, the one that got me, which Mike gets us. He knew that we would enjoy it. I saw it yesterday, and I've read it multiple times just for a good laugh. It was Saban Country on Bama Online with the subject line, "You should be donating 10% of your salary pre-tax to Yeah Alabama." Their collective, with the message saying, "Stop tithing if you need to until we dig our way out. We are in a crisis." All capital letters. Your church will be fine. If it's not, you can join another. Football is religion in Alabama, and it's time to prove it.
My goodness.
When you start to take from the collection plates, that's when you know that things have gotten serious with the desperation and the concern.
Well, yesterday we talked about players going from Michigan to Ohio State to Michigan, Bama to Auburn to Alabama. Didn't think I would see
We saw that.
And literally right after the show, Antonio Kite flew like a kite from Tuscaloosa to Auburn. He is transferring to Auburn, DB, from Alabama. I don't know how you do that, but he's going to attempt it. He's going to need security, Josh.
Legitimate police escort from the starting destination to the end point.
I remember when Rashad Evans, linebacker for the Titans, first-round pick, was committed to Auburn for so long. I think he went to Auburn High School. He was teammates with Blaze Taylor, Trooper Taylor's son, and flipped at the last minute to go to Alabama. And that was crazy. Imagine actually being a player of one school and then transferring to the other school. Crazy times we're living in. But I'm here for the chaos. I'm here for the chaos. I'm here to see, Bama fans get a dose of reality post Nick Saban.
Yeah, I would still offer caution on dancing on the grave of Alabama football.
Yeah, they're not.
I'm not saying don't enjoy when negative news comes out about your rival. That's how it goes. You should enjoy that, but be careful about assuming the total demise of the program. They'll be able to answer on their own as well.
Like they're not going to be South Carolina,
right?
Like they'll still be good. They'll still have resources. They have a good coach staff. You do have, Nick Saban. He'll be there, but he won't be over the shoulder of the new head coach. But don't expect them to be South Carolina. Like you can expect them to, maybe be like I don't say this in a bad way, but like a LSU that 3 L's, 2 L's, somewhere in that range, and depending on the ball bouncing their way, could make a run. But no more complete dominance that we've seen the last almost 2 decades with Nick Saban there.
We'll talk about the impact on the SEC. It affects Tennessee. It affects LSU, which Matt Moscona covers every day. He'll join us next. We'll talk about a player expected to join Tennessee's football team as well when we come back on Josh and Swain. Ready. Back on Josh and Swain. Thanks for being with us. We're halfway home, 90 minutes until Tyler and Will take over coming up at 3 o'clock. We continue on 99.1 The Sports Animal, as well as The Sports Monster up in the Tri-Cities. And in East Tennessee, there has been a lot of dancing over what's happened down in Tuscaloosa the last 7 or 8 days. I'm guessing the same applies to down in Louisiana and Baton Rouge, where we go to now. Matt Moscona joins us, ESPN Baton Rouge every day. Matt, good to see you. Am I right in that? A lot of celebrating down in your part of the country with the news of Nick Saban and what's gone on at Alabama.
The smile has been permanently affixed to my face for 8 days now. And you know what, guys? I don't really give a fuzzy rat's behind if any Alabama fan wants to try to throw darts and say, well, Nick Saban made you, or it's so pitiful you can't celebrate. No. For 17 years, you have all rubbed everyone's face in the fact that you had the greatest coach of all time. We understood it. We took our wins when we could get them. We celebrated them. We understood and respected his greatness. And I wish Nick nothing but the best. But to all you Bammers out there, all you houndstooth-clad losers, guess what's coming? Payback is a – can I say bitch?
No.
Yeah,
yes.
you can.
No.
You can say that on radio. Payback is a B, and it's coming. It is coming full throttle. Because guess what? If you think Kalen DeBoer is the answer, if you think you will even have a modicum of the level of success you've enjoyed over the last 17 years, it is going to be nothing but tears for all of you losers. Get ready, because here it comes. The rest of the college football loving world is going to be as insufferable to you as you all have been for the last 17 years.
Wow. I don't know if I've reacted that way, but I definitely feel the same way you feel, my man Matt. Walk us through the reaction.
Do LSU fans have a right to be the most affected by this because of the Saban effect? I get it. Y'all got your third Saturday in October, whatever. But you forget, he left. Saban was here, man. Yeah. Saban was here. He won a title here. He left to go to the NFL, and everybody understood and respected that. But on January 1st, 2007, when he took the Alabama job, everything changed, and then he became your biggest obstacle and the greatest team LSU had ever had in their program's history up to that point in 2011. Bama got a redo it didn't deserve after LSU won in Tuscaloosa, and you had to lose in the Superdome in embarrassing fashion to your former coach. And January 9, 2012 is like the day that will live in infamy. Mention that date to any LSU fan, they know what it is. So, yeah, there's probably, as much as Tennessee and Auburn may feel it, there's probably no fan base more affected by Saban having been in Alabama and now him leaving.
Matt, you were on air when news broke. Chris Lowe, ESPN, broke the news that Nick Saban was retiring. What was the reaction of your listeners, your fans, your viewers? Walk us through that.
I don't know, and I don't care. Swain, I don't care what their reaction was. Probably the same as mine. I was live on air. My eyes got, that cartoon where the cat, the eyes bug out like saucers? Yeah. My eyes got that big when I read Chris Lowe's tweet, and I interrupted a guest mid-sentence, and I danced around the studio for 8 minutes. You can find it. Just go search my name. You'll find it. It's there. But, how could it be anything else, man? It's been 17 years. It's a 17-year nightmare that you keep reliving. So when it finally ends and it's over unequivocally, yeah, you're going to celebrate. It's like when the Iraqis pulled down the statue of Saddam Hussein. I mean, yeah, that's what this feels like right now. The king is dead. The dictator has died. We have freedom. It's over. The long nightmare is over. Yes. I'm not telling you LSU is going to go win 6 titles in 10 years. I don't care. I just know that it's not going to – the oppression, the oppression, all of the pain and the agony that you've had to live with and stare at for 17 years is over. So, yeah, I don't care. I don't care what anybody else says, Swain. I'm sure they feel the same way I do.
Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge. So you're not afraid of Kalen DeBoer being the next big thing at Alabama?
I think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach. I think he's a great coach. I had Washington beating Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. I had Washington beating Texas in the Sugar Bowl. because I think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach. But he is not Nick Saban.
There it is.
Nick Saban is the greatest coach in the history of the sport we all love, and he is gone. And Kalen DeBoer may be great, and he may win a national championship at Alabama. But there's a big difference between being really good and even championship level over an amount of time and being Nick Saban. Yo, Nick Saban spent, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but like every stat that people say about Saban sounds more ridiculous than the next. But this is the one that for me is the most absurd. Nick Saban coached 17 years, 17 seasons at Alabama. He lost 18 SEC games. In 17 years, he lost 18 league games. There is a snowball's chance in hell that Kalen DeBoer ever even approaches that number. So, no, I'm not afraid of Kalen DeBoer being the next great thing. Bama's got resources, and they'll get players, and they'll win games. He might even win a championship. But it is not going to be the same thing. It cannot be the same thing.
It ain't Nick Saban. Matt Moscona, 104.5, Baton Rouge, on with us. Lance Hurd, the once five-star tackle, a freshman from LSU, hit the portal, Tennessee, and Hurd looks to be getting hot and heavy a little bit. What can you tell us about his time there at LSU, what kind of player he was for the Tigers?
Yeah, man. I mean, Lance Hurd was 5-star coming out of Neville in North Louisiana, and he was on the same team as Will Campbell, who's LSU's starting left tackle. They were high school teammates, which is crazy. But Hurd came down here thinking he was going to compete for and win a job as a freshman, and they gave him a look in fall camp. They looked at starting Hurd at right tackle and moving Emory Jones to right guard. But ultimately, they decided that they had their best 5 on the field, and Hurd kind of became the 6th guy that would rotate in. He's a talented guy. I mean, he is a monster. He's a big, old dude that's got good feet. He can play tackle, and he's physical enough to be a good run blocker if they need to play him on the inside. But he was a backup this year, and with 4 of LSU's 5 starters returning next year, he likely was in line to be a backup. But guys, I mean, this was an NIL deal. LSU's collective paid Lance coming out of Neville. He wanted a significantly higher sum for year 2, and they couldn't justify the number considering he was going to be a backup again. So he went into the portal and is seeking a better opportunity. And guys, I don't mean that in any way to be a knock on him or Tennessee or LSU for not paying or whatever. It's just that's the culture of it, and I respect any guy if your objective is go get paid, and someone's going to pay you, go get it, man. And if you have someone who's willing to fork it out. But if Tennessee gets Lance Hurd, they got a really good player. He is a starting caliber player in the SEC now. He just was at a spot at LSU where you had bookend tackles that were returning starters and a couple other guys that had been 3-year starters already on the line.
Yeah, you mentioned his talent, his overall talent. So what is the on-field potential, do you think, right now for Hurd, and then over the next couple of years? What did LSU think he could become as an offensive tackle?
Yeah, I don't doubt at all that, if Will Campbell and Emory Jones weren't there, he would have been a starting tackle on either side of the line as a true freshman. He is a really good prospect. I mean, there was a reason he was a 5-star, and he is you can project him as an NFL offensive lineman. He is a really good player. So if Tennessee gets him, I would be really surprised if he's not starting at one. I don't know what Tennessee's line looks like next year, who you have coming back, but I'd be really surprised if he's not starting in one of the tackle spots. I mean, he is a giant physical dude, and he's the kind of guy that, even as a freshman in fall camp, because crazy, y'all, Brian Kelly actually let us go watch practice. We could watch full practices and stuff. I mean, he's the guy that would start fights with defensive linemen just because he'd play through the whistle. I mean, he is when you look at the prototypical big, nasty, physical offensive lineman, he's that guy. He's huge and he's athletic. I get why he was a 5-star, and it sucks that LSU lost him, but it's just a different day in college football, and every team is going to lose players they don't want to lose in a given year for playing time, NIL, transfer portal, whatever reasons it may be for that player individually. So, yeah, if Tennessee gets hurt, they're getting a immediate starting caliber offensive lineman.
How would you describe, ranked, how would you look at LSU's collectives versus some of the other programs in the SEC?
Well, it's interesting, Swain, because because these aren't 501c3s, because these are all private entities not affiliated formally with the university, they don't have to disclose earnings or revenue or anything like that. So, I mean, the way that it's been described to me, and I also think it's really interesting that the deeper we get into this NIL world, initially it was kind of like all of the collectives were kind of being secretive with each other. But as everyone has continued to have to fundraise and feel like you're fundraising against other collectives, I think everyone is looking at each other almost like that Spider-Man meme. You know, everybody's pointing at each other.
Yeah.
It feels like everybody's got a gun and they're just like, everybody wants to put their guns down, but you can't be the first to do it, right? Like you can't say, we're going to stop paying players at this rate and hopefully you follow, because you can't be the one that moves first. Everyone has to collectively do it. So I think what's happened is you're starting to have more of a free-flowing sharing of information among collectives, because they're all kind of tired of having to fundraise at this pace. Long way to get to the answer of your question. The way it was described to me is that there's probably about a dozen or so collectives in the country that are outpacing everybody. And then there's a group of about 30 that are all kind of right in the same ballpark. And then there's the have-nots. LSU's in that 30, not in the top dozen, 15 or so, but that next tier where it's all kind of ambiguous. That's where LSU resides right now. But I think the bigger question isn't necessarily how much you raise, it's how you allocate your funds. For example, everyone's super impressed with Ole Miss. And should be. Ole Miss and LSU have raised just about the same amount of money. The gigantic difference is Ole Miss is allocating nearly 100% of their resources to the transfer portal. They are not paying high school athletes. They are paying only players out of the portal, which is why they're crushing it out of the portal. Also probably why Quinshon Judkins left. So I think that's maybe the bigger thing is how you're seeing resources allocated. Year one, LSU's collective gave everybody on the team the same amount of money. Year two, under Brian Kelly, I should say. Year two, this past year, it was more merit-based. And I think you're continuing to see that evolution. I don't know. That was a long, long answer. I don't know if I answered your question.
That was great.
Hey, before we let you go, Matt, is there any kind of Brian Kelly Michigan watch? Michigan still has a head coach in Jim Harbaugh, but you know about the anticipation up there in Ann Arbor for him to jump to the NFL. What's the talk in Baton Rouge over that, with Brian Kelly's name at least coming up when Michigan's job comes up?
Yes, well, Dennis Dodd had a piece today where he listed potential candidates for Michigan, and he had Brian Kelly on that list as right behind Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator there at Michigan. I created a bit of a kerfuffle a few weeks ago because I said on a social media live stream that I thought if Brian Kelly is offered the Michigan job, he would take it. I do believe that, by the way. I'm not backing off of that. I think if Michigan offers the job, he'd take it. He coached college for 20 years in the state of Michigan. He spent his whole career in the Midwest. Michigan is the winningest program in the history of college football. They've been to 3 straight playoffs, and they just won the national championship. Like, there aren't many jobs in the country better than LSU. Michigan's probably one of them. So anyway, and I think everybody has a dream job, dream scenario, whatever. So yeah, I mean, I could see that if they offer what I don't know at all, like whatsoever. Number one, I have no idea if Jim Harbaugh is leaving. And I mean, I can read all the same things we all do, right? And then number two, I have no idea at all if Michigan would have any interest in Brian Kelly. Like, is a 62-year-old Brian Kelly the most attractive candidate for Michigan at this point? Maybe not. He's got tons of skins on the wall. I mean, he took Notre Dame to the playoff a couple times, played for a BCS national championship. He's a proven winner, all that stuff. So I understand why Brian Kelly's appealing. It's why LSU was willing to give him a 10-year, $100 million contract, right? But I don't know what the interest level would be on that side. But, guys, I almost feel like anyone other than, well, Nick's retired, but Kirby, maybe Dabo. I feel like if Michigan came calling, darn near any coach in the country would take that job.
crazy to me.
Especially with where that program is right now. They just won a title. So you'd have to replace Harbaugh, but you'd inherit a program that is attractive for so many reasons. Matt, we have to run, but Swain, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and book Matt for either Thursday, April 11th or Friday, April 12th. Tennessee LSU, big baseball series in Knoxville. So, Matt, we can figure out a time, but I'd like to go ahead and book you for the show again if you don't mind.
I'll bring my
Payback
broom.
time. Payback time, Matt. We coming. We coming.
I'll bring my broom, Swain.
Okay, I'll bring the dustpan.
Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge. Thank you as always, Matt.
All right, guys. See you.
We'll continue the conversation. Stay right here with us on Josh and Swain. This is Josh and Swain. Thank you for being with us. Hope you're having a great afternoon. We're in the final segment of hour number 2. This will be a quicker one, then we'll come back and begin the third hour in less than 10 minutes, as we had a great time talking to Matt Moscona. He's fired up. He is celebrating the end of the Nick Saban era at Alabama. Colorful in the description, and also very complimentary of Lance Hurd as a football prospect. There just wasn't a starting spot for him at LSU. Mentioned the NIL aspect, all things that we've talked about. But as far as his potential, Matt also backed up what we've said. The potential is very much there for him to come in and make an immediate impact and grow into a high-level offensive lineman. Swain, an NFL prospect is what Lance Hurd should be over the next couple of seasons, and that's exactly what Tennessee needs. The one thing Matt wasn't sure of is, okay, what exactly is Tennessee's need? It is that. An NFL caliber offensive lineman at tackle.
Yeah, we need a tackle. Imagine him and John Campbell running their man to the tunnel after the play. We saw John Campbell do it against Virginia. Matt let us know that when he watched practice, there were several scuffles that included her because he played to the echo of the whistle. So we're getting a dude that's nasty and tough. Well, we in position to get a dude that's nasty, aggressive, and tough. So perfect fit for Tennessee, and this is why Hurd was a must-get from the moment he entered the portal from LSU.
Yeah, I feel like we've shifted the conversation to Lance Hurd has announced he's headed to Tennessee. He has not done that, but I've yet to see anybody indicate any other team is really in play except for Tennessee for Lance Hurd.
I don't really need him to announce. I mean, just give me the 100% go that he's going to be in Orange. That's all I need. I don't even need an announcement. Everyone does it, that now it's cool if you don't do it.
That's the play. Don't announce anything.
Exactly.
Just show up.
Exactly.
Hey, who's that big dude at the workouts? Oh, that's a new tackle. That's Lance Hurd.
Exactly. That's all you got to do. Just update the rosters on utsports.com. That's all you got to do.
We'll continue to monitor. We have another hour to go. We invite you to be a part of the show. 865-656-9900 for you to join us. 865-656-9900 to call or text in to the show. We'll continue the Tennessee football, SEC football, Tennessee, Alabama basketball conversation right here on Josh and Swain. Thank you for being with us on Josh and Swain. We begin the final hour of today's show. 1 hour to go before Tyler and Will take over at 3 o'clock. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Tyler and Will yesterday spoke to Brew McCoy. If you want to go back and listen to the conversation that they had, great conversation, great chat with Tennessee's receiver who is coming back for this upcoming season. So same place that you would listen to Josh and Swain podcast, you can check out the Tyler and Will feed to hear their conversation with Brew McCoy yesterday. You can search for Josh and Swain podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Subscribe when you do that. You can listen on demand thanks to Beatty Chevrolet. Thanks for hanging out with us on your radio dial, streaming live, watching today. We're live on the YouTube channel for 99.1 The Sports Animal. We'll get to Tennessee football, more on the Alabama SEC conversation. So when I do have to get your immediate reaction to this, there was a report, I think, before the season that there was a possibility of this happening, and it looks like it has. Miami tight end Cam McCormick has announced he'll return for a 9th season of college football. A 9th season of college football. A couple of members of his class would include Jalen Hurts and Nick Bosa. Well-known, established, I would call them veterans at this point in the NFL. If you're talking about second contracts in the NFL, then you've essentially reached veteran status. But he has opted to return to school. He has announced for a 9th season. An unprecedented 9th year, according to this story. He spent 7 seasons at Oregon and will have spent 2 years at Miami.
Why is he getting the 9th year? Did they give us a reason why?
Well, he's dealt with a number of injuries. I'm not sure why he should get a 9th, especially as we just talked about the other day. I'm not even sure the younger tongue of Iloa should have gotten a 6th, but he didn't, which is confusing when some other quarterbacks are getting a 7th year. But a 7th season is kind of extreme. Like that's pushing the limit.
John Campbell
Jr.'s. Yeah.
7 is extreme, Josh.
Remove kind of. You're right. John Campbell Jr. is getting that, and Keenan Peterly is getting that, and I'm happy for them that they're getting that. But 7 years, they would probably admit, is pushing it. 9, Swain, by my math, that's a year from a full decade. So that's the case here. Cam McCormick is getting a 9th season of eligibility to come back to play college football. This also does back up my theory that I believe that there has to be some player out there that could end up finding a way to just get unlimited eligibility. McCormick is our case study. I am now pulling for him to get a 10th year. I want him to play in 2025 to prove that it is possible to play 10 full seasons of college football. But Cam McCormick coming back for a 9th year, 7 at Oregon, and his 2nd coming up at Miami.
That's 2 careers. That's 2 standard careers. Like I played 4 years at Tennessee. I had 4 years to play. I had 5 years to play 4. I played 4. He's played 2 careers. On top of that, is he going to the parties? Like you going to the college parties? Don't that feel like being a freshman in college or a sophomore in college and hanging out at the high school parties? Don't that feel a little awkward? Ain't that a little weird? When
you go to the parties, you graduate, you're a year removed, you're still connected to students there, but you start to feel that disconnect. You go out to the same bars and spots where you went when you were in college, and you can feel the people looking at you like, hey, is he be here? Yeah. But Cam McCormick's going to show up, and they're going to be like, who's the old dude? And they're going to say, oh, that's our tight end. He plays on the team.
Tell me this.
For the Dolphins? No, the Hurricanes. He's still in college.
Tell me this. He was a starter last year, wasn't he? Please tell me he was a starter. Like, you can't be this damn old and not start. And you can't be this old and not be the captain. He has to be the captain, Crystal Ball. He has to be the captain. He's a 9th year player.
Yeah. He didn't put up big numbers, but he is a starter. He started 11 of Miami's 13 games.
What happened in the other 2 games? He was hurt?
Yeah, he might have been. I don't have his game by game here, but he did start 11 of the 13 games. Based on his previous 8 years, he probably dealt with some kind of injury, but had 8 catches for 62 yards, started 11. He did appear in the 13 games, but
you cannot get worked by a freshman. Like, in practice, in the games, you cannot get worked by a freshman. Bro, you 9 years older. You're too old, man. What's that scene? Doorman. He need to take your old butt home, man. He's too old to be playing football. 9 years?
Yeah, this is real life old school here at this point.
Is that the movie Old School? Yeah, that's old school.
So
yeah.
He might, if they do some weekend practices in camp, he might not be able to make it. Might have a stop at Home Depot, Bed Bath & Beyond. Probably won't be enough time because he's got to head back to practice. So Cam McCormick, 9th season coming up, playing for the Miami Hurricanes. That news coming out here this afternoon.
So when he's on the bus and everybody got their Beats by Dre headphones in, is he rocking with the iPod?
Yeah, the spin wheel.
Or does he have a CD player that he's over here wiping on his sleeve, trying to get it to go?
Does he still have the Discman? He's got the Discman.
He still got the Discman. Yeah, the Walkman.
He's pulling out the CD
with the cord.
He's wiping it off so it won't skip when he puts it into the Discman for the bus trip.
With the corded over the head headphones. Everybody else got Bluetooth.
Yeah, those awkwardly ear type shaped Sony headphones.
Yeah. Is he rocking the Nokia flip phone? 9 years, man.
Yep.
What are we doing?
I don't know. But I did enjoy that story, and I looked forward to bringing it up for you. Cam McCormick coming back for a 9th season. That announcement coming up. So I don't know. We'll see if we can get a 10th next year. Dreams can come true. Tennessee fans still, I would say, dreaming of Lance Hurd coming on board right now. Nothing official, but everybody's expectation, it seems, that he will choose the Vols. Matt Moscona last hour, very complimentary of Hurd as a prospect. And we knew about how he was rated as a prospect, and we know about Tennessee's need at the tackle position. But Swain, I thought what Matt Moscona said would back up what our thought has been, that, okay, here's a need, and here's a guy that appears to have a lot of talent. It's an obvious fit for him with Tennessee having an open spot for either tackle position. The projection is probably on the left side, but Matt's opinion was Lance Hurd would be starting at LSU if they didn't already have a couple of guys established there, and that Hurd is a real deal from a talent standpoint and an NFL prospect vantage point here in the next couple of years.
I think what Matt shared with us was very enlightening, because as a Tennessee fan, you kind of see things through your own lens. And we had some players on our roster that were starters that got into the portal and left. And one of the things that I know I said on the program was you had guys wanting to get more money, and Tennessee wasn't really trying to do that based on the production that they were giving. And you paid a player really well, but you just wasn't trying to go up as much as that player wanted to go up. So you let that player leave. I think it was refreshing and very enlightening to know that other programs, other schools are having the same issues, same conversations, same decisions that they have to make. Lance Hurd was a backup coming back that wanted more than what he got in his first year and didn't produce as much as some of the other guys. And so LSU made a decision to take that money and put it maybe somewhere else with a guy that's playing more, that's more of a contributor, and that's why Lance Hurd is in the portal. And, hey, what do you know? It's a great fit for Tennessee. So that was really good information from Matt sharing with us how Lance actually got into the portal.
It's also a reminder that trying to manage depth of really talented players is not that easy, because those players can find other opportunities.
Yeah, it's one thing.
You don't have to wait your turn as much.
Well, it's one thing for a freshman who is getting paid to wait their turn. But after that freshman year, they want to get paid and play. And so if you're not willing to either pay that player more, or if he's not ready to play, then you can't expect that player to get into the portal and look for other opportunities.
And he still has to go produce. We are talking about the potential of Lance Hurd. He has to prove that he can play in the SEC. But Matt Moscona's assessment is that he has the talent. Also, causing a kerfuffle, is that what he said?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's talking about a different situation, but that he would mix it up in practice. And there were some fights that came out of him playing through the whistle Tennessee needs that too, wouldn't you say? Everybody needs that. I think Tennessee does for sure.
Yeah, I think Tennessee needs that. I think Tennessee needs some enforcers on the team. I hope he comes in, even though he's new, even though he hasn't played in the SEC yet, and he will be second-year player. I hope he comes in and he's slapping dudes upside the head. That's not doing the right thing. That's not playing as hard as they need to play. I hope he comes in and does that because I think this team needs that for sure. A lot of good guys. We got a lot of good guys, man. But I think we need some guys that mix it up a little bit more during the course of a football game, and is not afraid to expect and hold teammates accountable too.
And you can have good guys that are still willing to be mean guys when it's time to be mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Aaron Sears is the coolest dude ever, laid back. Yep. But if you ain't going hard and you're not helping the team win, that's messing up his money. And he's from Russellville, Alabama. He got people to take care of. He got a lifestyle to pursue that's not in the country. And so if you mess that up for him, he might put his hands on you. He never had to do it because the threat alone got people in their place.
Yeah, when you walk in the room or step out onto the field looking like Lance Hurd does, that could be the message right away. But we'll see how he backs it up. Tennessee expected to land Lance Hurd, the transfer from LSU, and Matt Moscona last hour joining us from ESPN Baton Rouge said he's a real prospect. The accolades that he came to college with, he showed those on the practice field for LSU. Tennessee expecting him to take one of these starting spots opposite John Campbell Jr. Riley suggesting maybe Cam McCormick had to sit a couple of games due to arthritis. Getting his
he needs some Bengay.
9th season at Miami. David down in Alabama, when McCormick was recruited, he said he would only go to a school with a good retirement plan.
Oh man.
Yeah, do collectives offer that now? Can you jump into a 401k?
Man,
how's that work?
Dude's too old. We trying to play college football, man. 9 years. You
9
gotta
seasons.
win. You gotta win every rep, man. You gotta win every rep. You can't be getting worked by someone, especially if they're like early enrollee. Let's say spring practice. He getting worked by a kid that's supposed to be in high school. He need to go ahead and retire if that happens.
2016. Butch Jones still had 2 seasons remaining at Tennessee when Cam McCormick entered college.
That's unreal, man. That's unreal. Hey, man, there's still folks who 40 years old still live with mama and daddy. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that real world, there's no rush to get into the real world. No rush to go out there and start paying bills and being a grown-up, man. Milk it as long as you can.
Yeah, I'm not faulting him.
No.
The eligibility is granted. He has just accepted it. Yeah. We'll come back, 865-656-9900 to be a part of today's show. More Tennessee talk this afternoon. The Vols basketball team getting ready for an orange out this upcoming Saturday. Lady Vols getting ready for earlier action today. It's a 5 o'clock tip. We'll have the game for you on AM 990 today with Tyler and Will taking over at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So Hoops Talk continues, an attaboy to hand out before this hour ends as well. We're here until 3 o'clock on Josh and Swain. Thanks for being with us on Josh and Swain as we continue on this Thursday afternoon. Be with you until 3 o'clock. Our number is 865-656-9900 to be a part of the show as we are continuing the conversation of what's happening with Tennessee's offseason. The focus has been Lance Hurd. The other notes, Swain, from yesterday when we talked to Austin Price of VolQuest was a Stanford defensive lineman is coming in for a visit. Jackson Moy in Tennessee would like to add some defensive line depth and help for the future. And then there has been contact with a lineman from Washington as Tennessee would like to add more than one offensive lineman. Lance Hurd has been the focus in the conversation, but I guess it's the conference formerly known as the Pac-12 when it relates to football, but some guys from the West Coast that Tennessee might be looking for some help. As we've had a lot of questions come in, what about some Alabama guys? I've not seen any kind of connection with Tennessee and Alabama players like Caleb Downs. They did pick up a commitment from the tight end transfer over the weekend, but defensive line and potentially offensive line help is on the radar for Tennessee.
Yeah, and it looks like Tennessee's going to play Washington next year without actually playing Washington next year because Parker Brailsford is one of the highly rated transfer portal players. He's from Washington, offensive tackle, and he's planning to visit Alabama, according to Bama Online there with On3. And so curious to see how many players from Washington actually transfers to Alabama. Alabama looks like they're about to lose a four-star corner signee, Jameer Grimsley, who is going to enter the portal according to Chris Hummer, 247 Sports. So a lot of movement going on with Alabama football. Outgoing and incoming.
Yeah, Jabbar Muhammad is the number one corner according to the On3 transfer portal rankings. He's going to visit Alabama on Friday. He visited Texas yesterday. He's from DeSoto, Texas, and it looks like Alabama, Texas, and then Oregon are the three schools vying for him. So that is an example where it can go both ways. Alabama's getting the most attention. Washington's probably going to be hit harder than Bama from a roster standpoint.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
But Washington's not going to get as much attention, obviously, as Alabama.
No, because everyone, is crying help for Alabama and how it's unfair what's going on with Bama, but no one is doing that for San Jose State. No one's doing that for Arizona, and no one's doing that for Washington. And that's directed towards the national media there. But have you noticed a kind of a theme with some of the schools that are mentioned? A lot of these top players are hitting the portal. It's Oregon, it's Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, Ole Miss. It's only like a handful of teams.
It does seem to be a lot of the same names popping up.
Yeah. So.
Not Clemson.
Oh, it ain't Clemson. That's one team that's not in the mix, which makes zero sense because Coach making a lot of bread. They have a lot of money to renovate and get all these new facilities. They got a cool slide inside their complex, but no money for incoming players through the transfer portal.
Can't both things be true, by the way, that, the system, the way it is right now, is flawed and something needs to be done.
Yeah, it's whack.
But also, Alabama's not going to get any pity from anybody out there in college football either. So it can be true that, this structure doesn't look like it's sustainable. But that's for a lot of schools. You're right. San Jose State's not going to get talked about. South Alabama, which lost its head coach to Alabama, they're going to deal with a real challenge here. Major Applewhite's taking over that program, but it's a system conversation. Alabama is going to get no pity, and really shouldn't, because they also have the resources to be able to manage through this better than a lot of schools would, and the players that are staying are still pretty talented.
Something else that stood out about what Matt Moscona said is you have all these collectives that's kind of holding a gun at each other, kind of like the Spider-Man gift, right? They want to lower the gun. They would love to lower the prices and not have to fundraise the way that they're fundraising and not have to be pretty much strong-armed by these agents. But they don't have a choice because you have to have the talent to be able to win. And hopefully at some point, the market comes down more and more, so that way these players are not able to walk away with $800,000 without even playing a snap. I'm all for them getting paid, but like the bubble is bursting, and it will, because at some point donors and boosters, who are probably the big contributors of these collectives, they're going to say, where's the wins? Where's the players? Where, like, at some point they're going to say, nah, I'm going to sit this one out. And so we're not there yet, but there's going to be some, whether it's at a big school or a small school or SEC, Big Ten, there's going to be some boosters and donors that say, you know what, I'm good, man. I'm not seeing the results.
Right. The second time transfer allowance is also going to scare people off. Like, what? Well, this guy could just up and leave. I got a message earlier today. What if Lance Hurd decides to leave in a year? You can say that about any player.
Yeah.
This is maybe going to expedite the transition into the future of contracts that actually exist and the employment part of the conversation with athletes. Because if the courts continue to say, no, you can't limit their ability to transfer schools, well, then what would limit it is the allowance of actual contracts.
Yeah, and high school athletes, like with basketball, they can bypass college. They can go to, the developmental leagues. There's several that they can go to, play in there for a year, get paid, and then go to the NBA. Now, you got to go to college. You play football. So once we see these changes, you're going to see these college athletes understand that they need college. You can't just skip and go to the league. And I think that'll make a huge difference. That will help things so much than it is than what we're seeing right now.
So you sure you don't feel a little bit bad for Alabama?
No, I don't. I mean, Matt did a really great job of illustrating how he feels and how LSU fans feel. Hey, I feel the same way. I feel the same way as Matt.
Yeah, I've thought about, okay, who really benefits the most here? I think Tennessee and Auburn are two schools that have obvious reasons to benefit from Nick Saban no longer being there at Alabama, the rivalry, the annual matchup. But LSU's in that conversation. I haven't thought of LSU as much because they've had more success than Tennessee or Auburn over this 17-year period that we've talked about with Nick Saban there. But I didn't really factor in as much the emotional toll that watching their former coach do what he's done at Alabama, knowing that he could have done that down in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. I mean, LSU saved Nick Saban from the Big Ten, from Michigan State. LSU is a program that gave him the opportunity to have those results because they provided him with the resources, with the in-state talent, with the platform to be able to go out and build the championship team and program that he was able to build in Baton Rouge. And then he left to the NFL, and when he came back to college, he didn't go back to LSU. He went back to an SEC West team that is a rival of LSU, and that rivalry took another leap when he was there at Alabama. But yeah, I didn't really think about it the way Matt described it. The emotional connections they had to Nick Saban. For us us Auburn fans and Auburn fans and Tennessee fans, we're just excited that he's not beating us 48-3 every year. But for LSU, it's different, and LSU has had some success against Nick Saban. Not a lot more than everyone else, but they've had more than everyone else. So they're happy about it, but there is an emotional tie there with LSU fans.
Did you notice, I think yesterday, last couple days, Lane Kiffin tweeting out his travel itinerary, and he was out on the road where you could make some turns to go to Tuscaloosa. I think even went under a bridge that had a big Roll Tide sign. He was sharing that. Also shared that Trey Amos, the defensive back transfer from Alabama, is going to visit Ole Miss this upcoming weekend.
What'd you say? What sign?
ROLL, if you want to say it yourself.
Don't be on here cussing. Josh Ward. You watch your mouth, man. Watch your mouth. Don't be on here using foul language. You know better.
My bad. Matt Moscona, he influenced me last hour. We'll come back. We have an attaboy. Really cool story to tell you about a guy getting ready for a big playoff game this weekend. That when we come back here on Josh and Swain. Back on Josh and Swain, thank you for being with us as we continue on 99.1 The Sports Animal as well as The Sports Monster in the Tri-Cities. Thank you for being with us today. We're going to hand out an attaboy in just a moment. Cool story ahead of the NFL playoffs. We'll talk more about those games coming up tomorrow. Big divisional round weekend coming up. We'll talk Tennessee basketball with the Alabama game coming up Saturday. 2 o'clock start at the Food City Center on Saturday, and Orange Out. Swain, bring your orange if you're headed to the game on Saturday.
Place will be rocking for sure. Food City Center, new name, but I think this will be the first game with the new name where you physically may feel the place shake. Like it's going to be something else, and it doesn't hurt that Nate Oats got himself in a little bit of a kerfuffle, is what Matt Moscona described it as, and he was punished very, very harshly by the dreaded reprimand. And so if anything happens with Tennessee, Alabama players, or Nate Oats is barking at the officials, that is going to, I think, ignite the Tennessee crowd even more.
Yep. It's going to be a scene on Saturday. Tennessee getting ready for Alabama. Big SEC matchup. Right now, here on Josh and Swain, we hand out today's attaboy.
All the great work you've been doing.
I like your style. You remind me of a young me.
Failure is not an option.
That boy is good.
Home, remind yourself, nobody built like you. You design yourself.
Attaboy.
So we hand out attaboys and attagirls every day thanks to Native Design and Hardscape. Swain, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a big-time running back for the Chiefs, playing an important role for them as they get ready for a playoff game this week against the Buffalo Bills. He was a really good player at LSU. He'll play, I'm guessing, at least a couple more years in the league. I know he's at a tough position. But while he's playing an important role in the offense for the Chiefs, he has also been preparing for life after football, and that has been by taking classes, attending nursing school. He has been motivated by his mother, who is a nurse, and his sister, who was born with muscular dystrophy. He credited his fiance for helping him manage what his schedule is. He goes to practice, goes to workouts, goes to whatever his obligations are with the Chiefs, and then he goes home and he studies, and he takes care of what he needs to do for his other goal in life. And I just thought that was so cool, what he's trying to do. He's making good money in the NFL. If he takes care of that money, he should be good. After his time ends in the NFL, he was a high draft pick, but he wants to do more than just what he is with football. So he joked with the reporters. He said, if you guys need IVs and need some shots, I'll take care of you. But I thought that was a really cool story, especially for some of the reasons that he has been motivated, looking at what his mother has done and what his sister has gone through.
I just think it's cool that he was born with God-given talents to play a game that pays you a lot of money. He was able to play on the national championship team at LSU. He was the first-round pick of the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that just won or just competed, for a Super Bowl, lost to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he's playing on a winning team, a great football community. But he's driven by his passion to be a nurse. And I just think it's so cool that people are driven by their passion no matter what they're currently doing. They may have a passion in something else. In this case, it's to help people. And I just think it's so cool that he's finding ways to get it done, not letting his rigorous football schedule get in the way of him pursuing what he ultimately wants to do when he's finished up playing ball.
Absolutely. So an attaboy to Kansas City Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the work that he is putting in to set up what he will do, not only for himself with a career after football, for other people as well. We hand out attaboys and attagirls every day thanks to Native Design and Hardscape. Check out the website, nativetn.com. If you would like to make some changes to the outdoor space at your home or at your business, Native Design can help. Knoxville's premier landscaping and hardscape designer. You can call 865-310-3256. Schedule a consultation today. And remember the website, nativetn.com for Native Design and Hardscape. We'll come back for a final segment of Josh and Swain. We'll have the power poll through 2 weeks of action, our top 5 SEC basketball teams. 2 of them could be on the list, getting ready for a big game in Knoxville this weekend. That when we come back on Josh and Swain. Final segment of Josh and Swain on this Thursday afternoon. Hope you're having a great day. Temperature's warming up a little bit. We could use a little bit more heat. Swain, I've enjoyed the snow. I've enjoyed some sledding with the kids. They've had a blast the last few days. I would enjoy some melting, if I'm going to be honest with you as well, here as we move forward in the next couple of days with some more precipitation potentially coming in over the next few hours.
Yeah, snow just gets used and abused, man. Like we only love snow when we can play in the snow, and then it can melt really quick and doesn't affect like our lifestyles. Like,
That's right.
That's all.
And really what we're talking about is ice. Ice is it's the friend that brings trouble that comes along with snow. Like, yes, snow, you're welcome, but that ice, it's going to create some problems. So here we are. And to everybody that's out there trying to help clear those roads and that have jobs that they have to be out, we appreciate you. Be safe out there. It's not easy on a lot of people as well. We're in a fortunate situation where we can kind of hang out, put our hoodies on, and stay warm and wait till everything melts away. Not everybody can do that. So if you're out there, if you have to be out there, we appreciate you. Stay safe out there too.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Get those pets inside, protect them animals. I think about people that are unable to have a roof over their head right now, that's homeless. And so, man, this is a really tough time on them. And so just be safe, be careful, and, man, love each other, think about each other, and try to help somebody else, man. This is the perfect time for that. It's always the perfect time for that, but especially during these times.
Yeah, let this be a reminder. Yeah, check in on people.
Yep.
That needs to happen all the time, but especially right now. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock, scheduled to be out at the Bed Store in Maryville tomorrow, one of 7 area locations. So we'll be on tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a big Friday show with the Tennessee-Alabama game at the Food City Center on Saturday. We've talked about the importance of that game. We'll dive more into that, the hot streak that Dalton Knecht is on, big NFL playoff weekend coming up. I'll be curious there. We talked to Alan Bell at the start of the 1 o'clock hour. Mike Tomlin is coming back. Mike McCarthy is coming back. There's an anticipation of Nick Sirianni coming back, but nothing definitive. And Alan's thought was, I'm still skeptical there. He mentioned Mike Vrabel as a potential fit, but let's see what happens in Philly. Those are 3 big-time positions. I was surprised. I thought the Cowboys would make a move on Mike McCarthy, but he is coming back. They had a press conference to confirm that today. Mike Tomlin met with the media, joked that he was in a better mood. He's looking for an offensive coordinator. They're also going to bring in competition. They're not sold on Kenny Pickett, so they'll bring in competition at the quarterback spot.
They need to. They need to draft the quarterback high. Kenny Pickett, I don't think it is the answer there. And it's funny because, like, the Eagles went to the Super Bowl last year, something Cowboys haven't done in forever. And this year fell apart late. Not as bad as the Cowboys, but fell apart late, lost in the same round as the Cowboys. And there's uncertainty whether the Eagles head coach will come back. But Jerry Jones, quick to announce that Mike McCarthy is coming back. But he cares so much about winning. Okay. All right, man. Cool. Especially when you have Bill Belichick available. It'd be one thing if you had Mike McCarthy and he was young. He old just like Bill. And is more accomplished and is a better coach. So you have available coaches who are better. And you going to keep Mike McCarthy? Okay.
Did they make contact and Belichick says it's not going to be the right fit? Belichick getting a second interview with the Falcons, by the way. That's starting to look like a real possibility, Belichick to Atlanta. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but if he's getting a second interview, the conversations are real at this point. So the Chargers looking for a coach. Could it be Harbaugh? Could Harbaugh end up back at Michigan? What a story that would be if he's still in college football. That's not necessarily the anticipation, but until something's done, it's not done. So that'll be something to monitor over the next few days with some coaching vacancies out there, and the watch remains in Philly with their season ending this past Monday. Before we close out today's Josh and Swain, let's hit the power poll. So we hit the power poll every day thanks to Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union. We're a couple weeks into action. This is a list that will be fluid as more games take place within the SEC, Swain. But our top 5 SEC basketball teams through the last couple of weeks, plus non-conference can be included in there. The power poll every day presented by Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mississippi State, number 5. I got Alabama, number 4. I got Auburn in front of them at number 3. I got Tennessee at number 2. I got Kentucky at number 1. Yeah, talk about Kentucky. Put them number 1. I saw Aaron Torres say Kentucky's one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the country. Yeah, I like that, man. Yeah, Kentucky's awesome. I like it. Let's keep that up. Now, I don't know how much we'll be able to keep it up when Tennessee, Kentucky actually plays, but I want to be number 2 right now. And I honestly think Tennessee is second best team in the SEC at this point. Kentucky, they've lost a game in the conference. Tennessee's lost a game in the conference, but I think Kentucky's slightly better.
Wildcat Swain, is that what people are calling you? Big Blue Swain?
No, I ain't saying that now.
No? Okay. Just making sure after the power poll today. I have Mississippi State number 5, just like you. I love the talent. I'm still a little bit skeptical. They have the lost A&M. That's an overtime that happens on the road again. But I've got Kentucky number 4.
Number 4.
I've got but it's very tight 1 through 4 here. I will say that. I have Bama number 3. I have Auburn number 2. Orange shade of glasses, I guess, writing this out. I've got Tennessee number 1. Their loss is to a top 5 team in the poll. So I've got Tennessee number 1. Tennessee versus Alabama, a battle of top 4 Josh and Swain teams coming up on Saturday. How about that for a ranking to preview this upcoming Saturday's matchup? And we have the power poll every day presented by Alcoa 10 Federal Credit Union, your less red tape banking alternative. Swain, anything that we missed that we need to let people know in the next 25 seconds before we sign off?
Peace and love. Go Vols.
That's well said. Go back and listen anywhere you get your podcast. Search Josh and Swain. Great conversations with Alan Bell and Matt Moscona on today's show. You can go back and watch if you'd like to on our 99.1 Sports Animal YouTube page. Subscribe when you stop by to go back and listen or watch anywhere. Charlie Collier with us today producing. Great job. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for hanging out with us on today's show. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock right here on Josh and Swain.